Hello everybody, my name is Daniel and today we're going to do a little of Mythbuster. So, we are going to take this book from Ian Livingstone, Crypt of the Sorcerer, and we're going to see if it's really the most difficult adventure book of all times. For the ones who doesn't know, this is a really famous adventure book. It's from 1987, so almost 30 years ago, and still keeps getting relaunched even today. And it's a really good book and it's famous for being really difficult to finish. And we are going to see if that's only a myth or if that's reality. Oh, also for the ones who doesn't know, an adventure book is a book where you choose the path the hero is going to take. Depending on your choices, you may or may not be successful. You also have to roll some dice. And this book is famous not only for having a really narrow path and sometimes illogical as well, but also because, well, they say you needed a loaded dice to win this. Let's see if that's true or not. So, what did I do in order to check this? I did here in Excel, really simple. I did a simulation and I simulated 1 million times a book, so the book play, and I saw the result for this 1 million times. Where did the person die or did the person finish? And I also put some strategy in it. Someone can say, oh, but there is strategy in this point in the book. How did you use it? Well, I used luck in the toughest fights to make them shorter, and also when you are going to die but luck could avoid it, I also decided to use it. So yes, there is a strategy. Also, of course, I took the best path to make chances higher. And let's see what the result was. Here we have the 1 million results, and let's see. Let's cut to the chase. Really, is it a myth or not? Let's see. Victory. As you can see here, only 0.1% of the times there was a victory. So rolling the dice with this strategy led to victory. This is 1 in 1,000. Yeah, this book is really difficult. It means that if you play 100% fair, you win it only 1 in 1,000. If you want to win it fairly, hope you have some time, some free time, because yeah, you are going to need it. And this here includes the first thing you throw dice for is to see your skills, your characteristics, and one of them is skill, one of the most important ones. And this statistic here is with 3 skills. So how would it be if you didn't cheat on getting the skills? For one moment I thought it was going to crash. But let's see what happens if you have only a skill of 12. You decided to cheat. Oh, I want to start with full skill. And you can see here your chance doesn't get much better. Only 0.6% of the time you are going to win. So cheating on the skill, of course, it makes a huge difference. You will have 6 times more chance of winning, but even so your chance is still really small. And another important thing that you can see that also can make winning worthwhile, that can make cheating worthwhile. Look here, in 1 million simulations, the victory was only achieved when the starting skill was either 11 or 12. And 11, even so, only 67 times out of 1 million. So yeah, if you want to win this, it's almost a must to have a starting skill of 12. This means that you may want to cheat and have a 6 on your first dice. Also, if we see a little about other parts, what can we get? So first of all, That also shows why this book is so difficult and why can it be so frustrating. Let's see. When you fight in the final part of the book, you get to the final fight. Let's see what can happen to you. If you get to the final fight in the book, you will win only 4% of the times. 95% of the times you'll be grabbed by the face by Razak. And when you fight him, if you win 2 rounds in a row, you lose. That's when he grabs you by the face. And 95% of the times, this is what will happen. You lose because you lose 2 rounds in a row. So yep, even if you get to the final fight, don't be too cocky and don't be too happy. Most likely, 1 out of 20 times, you are going to lose. Also, something interesting is that if you take here the first fights plus the first dice roll that you have, actually you have first the dice roll, then the first fight, here 75% of the times you won't make past it. Why? Because the first dice roll, if you have 5 or 6, you're dead. That's it. So roughly 1/3% of the times, that could be actually calculated. So 1/3% of the times you are done. Right at the beginning, first dice roll. And if you take a 4 or 5, you lose skill. You lose 2 points from skill. And losing skill makes this fight against the hook really difficult. Because the 2 hooks are good opponents. So there's a huge chance that 75% chance that you won't make it to the first fight. Yep, that's harsh. That's really harsh when you start playing the book and you can't even get further than the first fight. And also, if we ignore this part, okay, but if I pass this, what's going to happen? So let's ignore this, the hooks plus the flies here, let's ignore them. Even so, you still have a huge chance of dying from Chameleonite's blood effect. You need to use the Chameleonite's blood to get camouflage. Oh, my pronunciation is horrible, but I hope you can understand me. And so 1/6 of the times, the effect of the blood will means you lose. You will lose your left arm, which means you won't be able to use a certain item in the future. That's that. So 1/6% of the time, here is your game ends. And also, here there is another really harsh fight. It's the Grey Golem. When you fight him, after each turn, you must roll a dice. If you get 1, you lose. As simple as that. So even if you pass the first harsh part, where you lose 75% of the time, more or less 30% of the time you lose because your sword you get stuck because you roll 1 during the fight. So yep, this is really harsh. The Griffin is also a harsh fight where it's likely that you die. You can see here 15% of the times after the harsh part. Again here, Razak grab by the face is also something really significant. So yeah, even if you pass the first part, the first harsh part, you still aren't safe. Actually, you are really far from being safe because you only have roughly 5% chance of winning if you pass the first part. So you can, as a curiosity, you have a fight against some skeletons in a graveyard, and in all simulations you never died from this fight. Why? because this fight is so easy compared to other fights that you have, that if you reach this point, you will be strong enough to deal with skeletons. So the skeletons can see as a hard fight because you fight 3 at a time, but in a million simulations, not once did any skeleton from the 3 kill you, even fighting all of them at the same time. So as we can see, the myth is confirmed. This is a really harsh book, most likely the hardest one to finish. You really need a loaded dice, and it's a good book. The story is somewhat interesting. You can also see the choices you must make, but you may want to cheat a little, or you may get bored and need a whole lot of free time to finish it. Well, that's it, people. If you have any questions about the book or you want to see something in this simulation, just ask me, and see you next time.